Got 21 people here. The event's still starting. Okay. And I'm waiting. Tracy says, buckle up. Can you hear me? Does somebody have their Facebook open?
I do.
Can you turn the sound off to the Facebook at least? Mute your sound?
That was my phone, actually.
Oh, your phone, yeah. So we don't have all that in the background going on?
I'm not sure how to turn off sound on my Facebook.
Okay. Okay. I got to start now.
Okay.
Hi, brothers and sisters. This is Ron Steele, and today is April 29th, 2017. And this is my webinar today about the un-swissindo. You know, I've been promoting that it's about free money, so that's just a catchy phrase to get your interest, but it's true. There's going to be some talk about how people are going to get $150,000 to relieve them of some of their credit and basic income. And so I have some guests with me today, Jody Troupe and Susan Denham. They have also a volunteer with them who you'll see. You don't see her picture, but India. What is India's last name, Jody?
Merkerson.
Merkerson. Okay, she's going to be here with us today too, kind of helping Jody and Susan out. But you guys, I wanted to let you know before we get started, we're going to spend about an hour to an hour and 20 minutes today, and then we probably won't get to cover enough information today. So we're going to do one of these again in the next 2 weeks, and who knows, we might do a third one. But we'll let you know for sure. You guys know where to, where to look for my updates on social media and YouTube. So speaking of which, please go to my YouTube channel for subscribe there and get updates on the un-swissindo and many other things that I like to talk about on my videos. I have a lot of videos there. So go to Live the Enlightened Lifestyle on YouTube. So sign into your YouTube account and search Live the Enlightened Lifestyle, and you can see a lot of different things there, videos that I do. I've also got a Facebook group and a Facebook event for like this event and other guests that I have on. And those are all listed under Live the Enlightened Lifestyle. The Facebook event, though, I have it under free enlightenment webinar, free worldwide enlightenment webinar. And I also have a Facebook page for Live the Enlightened Lifestyle. So Live the Enlightened Lifestyle by me, Ron Steele, is all about sharing information with folks about living a better lifestyle through enlightenment and what that means. So we'll talk about that another time. Now I want to go ahead and introduce Jody Troupe. Jody, can you say hello to everyone and just tell us a short bio about yourself?
Sure, I'm Jody. I live in California now. I'm hearing a little feedback. Hopefully that sounds okay for everyone out there. If anybody can write in the chat, my sound is
yeah, I'm gonna mute my volume. Go ahead and go ahead, Jody.
Okay. I started a career in graphic design, and at some point I segued into learning about energy healing and some other complementary therapies, and that automatically brought me to alternative energy, free energy, and all of this is culminating in participating in un-swissindo now, so it's very exciting.
Good, and let's see if Susan, is your microphone working now?
I believe it is. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay?
It's a little rough and your video's not moving. Do you have any other windows open or anything that you can close to have all of your memory going towards our webinar today?
I've got everything. I've restarted to have a clean slate. I think it's my connection between my phone and the the interface. Are you hearing me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead and tell us a short bio about
delay?
yourself real quick. And just put the microphone closer to your mouth, and we should hear you even better.
Okay, my name is Susan Denham, and my background is in publishing and internet marketing and transportation management. And I came to Swissindo because of the humanitarian aspects of it. And I think all of the active Swissindo members are humanitarians in our own right. We've taken an interest in like free energy, like Jody. We have other people with organized foundations, humanitarian foundations, and I believe that's what attracted us to Swissindo and what it's about, because we can see the vision of it and integrate it into what we are all about. I work with my church in food pantries and housing and transitional supplies and that sort of thing. So the humanitarian aspects of Swissindo are really attractive.
Oh, we lost Susan. Ron, I don't hear you. Here we go.
So,
Ron, I don't hear you.
Ron, I think you're muted.
Okay, Jody, let's go ahead and move on to you. Everybody's been waiting to hear what un-swissindo is about. Let's go ahead and get the webinar started. So Jody, just tell us, how you got into un-swissindo, why, and then tell us from the beginning, kind of step by step, what is un-swissindo and what are their missions. And then we can maybe talk about each individual mission and start with the first one first. So go ahead, Jody.
Well, how I came to Swissindo started a couple of years ago. Someone introduced me to the idea, and they told me that there was a king in Indonesia who wanted to flood the world with money and just get rid of all the human suffering. And I remember just crying when I heard that, because I thought, wow, is there really somebody that's so benevolent that they want to bring this to the world? And I was so curious that I asked if I could have access to some of there were, I guess, what you would call world meetings going on amongst some of the delegates. And so I was transcribing some of those in order to get to know who the participants were and just to better understand the story behind it. Because there's actually information prior to Swissindo coming on the scene. There's information before that. And so I was trying to just understand the whole story. And then I moved to California 2 years ago, and I didn't really have access to the information for a while because I was going to school and I was very busy. But then thanks to anyone out there who listens to channelings, I actually came back to Swissindo because of a channeling where I heard someone that was channeling Prime Creator. They asked the question, what can you tell us about Swissindo? And I couldn't believe it. And they said, this is one of many pockets of abundance for humanity that will be coming. So I reconnected with the person that originally introduced me to Swissindo, and they were putting together delegates for America. And I said, yes, sign me up. I'm interested. And I've been participating since. So that was about December 2015. And do you want Susan to go now, or should I continue?
Susan, how's your microphone working?
Testing.
Don't you just love technology? Okay? Yeah. Why don't you tell us? I'll have Jody start talking about.
Or you can hear.
I'll have Jody start talking about the un-swissindo, the first mission. After you want to explain to everybody a little bit about what un-swissindo is to you, and just talk a little bit for a few minutes, and then we'll move on to Jody.
Sure. Swissindo is a paradigm shift in the financial realms, and that trickles down into the spiritual. And every day you walking around everything is going to look different eventually because of the changes that we're making in the financial sectors. Whenever we have more money, more abundance to work with, we will think differently, and people won't be motivated to spend all of their time working for someone else's dreams. They'll be able to achieve their own, and everybody has things that they want to do that they just don't have time to focus their attention on because they're spending their time building someone else's dream or earning enough money to keep the lights on, feeding their kids.
Lost her again.
Okay.
Paramount, because the financial burden has been lifted or the pressure has been lifted, we'll see major advances in technology. So.
Okay. Jody, why don't you go ahead and tell us about the different missions of un-swissindo, so people kind of get an idea of how complex it is, that it's not just, free money here, basic income there. Tell us about, you and I talked a few days ago about those missions. Just tell us what those categories are, basically, and then you can back up and start with the very simplistic, mission, and we'll just go step by step and walk through it. And what we don't finish today, we'll do again on the next agreed webinar.
Well, if you don't mind, I would actually like to start with something prior to when you're mentioning the missions. I think you're talking about payments 1 to 11, which is ultimately what Swissindo will roll out. But I actually wanted to start the discussion talking about consciousness, because talking about what Swissindo is bringing out, the title of this talk is Free Money, un-swissindo, or something like that. And depending on whom you're talking to, I think this can sound, it lands a little funny in the mind. People don't understand who's behind it and what is this all about.
It sounds unbelievable because we've been taught that who the heck is going to give us a free ride. So this is not government money. That's not a government handout. It's about something much more. And I think that's what you're about to say. Go ahead and tell them where it really comes from.
Right. Well,
consciousness.
My thought was, I know your audience is more tuned to spirituality and raising consciousness, but because this is going to be uploaded to YouTube, I just wanted to give a little background on the status of where we are, humanity moving into a new era, and Swissindo is here to help assist us into that new era. So from a consciousness perspective, we kind of have this. A lot of people heard of the year 2012 as being a delineating point. And it wasn't so much that something happened on that day, but it was more like a window within which our consciousness was shifting and raising. And I think a more concrete way to speak about raising consciousness is looking at how we've evolved in terms of expanding our awareness and reaching out beyond just ourselves or just our family. Every time we reach out further and encompass more, and in particular, when we start I had an example in that last week. There was a newspaper report about 2 rivers in India that have been given, let me see the wording. They've been awarded the status of legal and living entities. They are regarded as a legal person with all corresponding rights, duties, and liabilities. And this may have been done elsewhere before, but I think this is really a unique point to bring forward, where we've taken something, rather than humans being the dominant species and everything else being below that, as you offer rights and equality to other beings and entities beyond that. So like protecting lakes, protecting forests, but then when you actually elevate them to the level of having these same rights, but they have no voice. So we have to give them voice. So to me, that's a good way of kind of illustrating how we're moving or raising consciousness. So a lot of people might just see that as evolution, but if you're trying to have the discussion about consciousness, that would be, I think, a good way to describe it so people understand it's an expansion of what you're including and what you're giving respect to and giving the same rights as yourself.
Yeah, that's put in a very good way. That's different than I've heard it before. Would you say that un-swissindo is a part of that consciousness movement, the enlightened, movement? It comes from something very enlightened.
Right. And that's my point in bringing this up is Swissindo is here because humanity has sufficiently raised its consciousness where this can even show up. And what Swissindo is bringing forward, if I can add one more thing, sometimes people refer to 3D and 5D. Those are dimensions, 3 dimension, 5th dimension, but that goes hand in hand with raising consciousness. So whether you want to talk about changing dimensions or you want to talk about changing consciousness, they're actually the same thing. So if you wanted to describe something as being 5D, you can understand that is actually in a higher consciousness. And Swissindo is representing that dimension. And everything that is done from Swissindo would come from that perspective. And some people might have to do some research on understanding consciousness or what that actually means. But if you understand 5D and what's necessary at that level, there's transparency, there's equality from all. I had a couple of points I wanted to mention about that. So in reference to this talk being called Free Money in un-swissindo, I wanted it to fall like in an appropriate framework and for people to understand that consciousness aspect, because sometimes fear comes up around this idea of there being, I don't know, another power bringing this money to all of us and like who's making the decisions. And if everybody could just understand when somebody's coming from this other perspective, a very spiritual high level, there's no fear there at all from any of us. It's actually super cool. So un-swissindo operates from this expanded consciousness level, what I would call 5D, and that's why it's here focused on humanitarian projects at the world level. They're here to redistribute wealth equitably among all people, because that will help assist everyone into a new state of being. I was thinking this up, if you think about Maslow's hierarchy, you can't be self-actualized without meeting certain needs along the way. And the one right before self-actualization is self-esteem. A lot of work to be done there yet. And you've got food, water, and shelter at the bottom, then belonging and the self-esteem. So if you can flood the world with abundance, everybody's receiving everything they need for their physical needs, and then we begin treating each other in a way that's respectful and becomes part of the culture, we'll move into this higher level of consciousness just automatically. And so Swissindo is here to help facilitate that. And that's that we're all raising our consciousness now, and that is why Swissindo can even be here, because we're moving into that space. And so it will be able to be a catalyst to make change in the world really rapidly once we get to that point. So we're just informing everybody on that. And if we can start from this platform of understanding we're raising consciousness, Swissindo's coming from that place. It's not a place to be feared at all. And it's something to aspire to, actually.
No, it's 100% good intentions, and it's pretty easy to.
May I interject?
To believe. Yeah, go ahead, Susan.
One thing that helped me to understand the relationship between dimensions and consciousness is the word perspective. When we say that we're raising our consciousness or moving into higher dimensions, we're looking at the same things from a higher perspective, a different perspective. Mm-hmm. And as we move up in the dimensions, we're able to see more enlightened aspects of that thing that we're looking at. In this case, it's money, abundance, and debt. We're able to see it for what it actually is, with a more a broader view of that specific thing that we're looking at. From 3D, it looked like that debt was necessary and a necessary evil, something that you had to have any kind of lifestyle, because we were actually conditioned to believe that. And with this DBLC, we are understanding that debt is a tool to enslave us and we have consented to slavery. We basically said, "Go ahead, put them on me, shackle me up." And we didn't ask any questions because we were taught that was how it had to be. And now we're beginning to realize, and we're having the tools to understand that, the knowledge to understand that it doesn't have to be that way. So debt burden liberation is an actual, it's a tool, like a screwdriver or something that we can use to unlock our full potential. Because when we're not shackled by debt, and we're not, slaves to this amount of money that we owe, which we don't really owe. It slows us down. So perspective was the point I was trying to make. I got a little long-winded. Sorry. Thank you.
No, that's okay. You said that well, and stuff like that needs to be said. If you guys would like, I'd like to move on to, and you don't have to go too deeply about it, but I think it's important for our webinar attendees to understand kind of, maybe we don't have to go back to the 1800s, but if we could go back to like 1960 and talk about, the Indonesian president at the time and JFK just a little bit about how they really sponsored this, if I'm saying that right. Can you, Jody, can you talk about that first and then maybe get some perspective on that from Susan?
Sure, that actually was going to be my next point. I was hoping to screen share at this point because we have a document that shows Soekarno and JFK and how Swissindo was that mission that started back then.
Yeah, just be detailed about who, Soekarno and we know who JFK is, but most people don't know the outside of the U.S., who the presidents and stuff are. But yeah, just go ahead and screen share like we did the other day, and make sure you have your screens separated and you choose that screen. You remember that choice you make after you hit the screen share button. Just choose what you want to share. And we should be able to see it in full screen up here.
Okay, so
I think the rest of our pictures will go to the side very small, and we should see your screen share large. Okay, we see it, Jody.
Great.
And of course, we don't see you because we're seeing your screen share, but we've got Susan and I up here. So, okay, go ahead. We're watching.
Okay. So I thought this was a good place to start because what un-swissindo is doing now is actually a continuation of what was started back when John F. Kennedy was working with President Soekarno, the first president of Indonesia. And there was an agreement, which you can see here. I don't know if you can see my mouse or my cursor, but
yes, we can see
that document there is called the Green Hilton Memorial Agreement. So
what's it called again?
The Green Hilton Memorial Agreement. It's right here in the. Can you see what I highlighted there?
Yeah. Do you know what that? Can you tell us what that means? What is Green Hilton? Is that someone's last name? Two different last names, or?
I'm going to have to defer to somebody else on that detail because I don't actually know.
Do you know anything about that, Susan?
Yes.
Oh. Oh, okay. So that explains the green part in front, because they don't do that in the U.S. Okay. Awesome. Okay, go ahead, Jody. Tell us. Sorry, I just wanted to. I'm kind of into the details, so I wondered what that meant. Maybe some of us out there, thought about the same thing. But go ahead. What were you going to tell us the rest of this with JFK?
Ron, I think you're voicing what a lot of us have felt is once a lot of us volunteered for un-swissindo and we started learning about it, the details are endless. It's amazing. And history starts to be rewritten for you, and you learn all this information and the details. It's really whatever you want to start investigating. I had started looking at certain information as I was trying to put together certain understandings for myself. And so I think everybody kind of, you know, latches on to their particular area of interest, and they really dig in, and it's seriously endless. I don't know, I don't know how long somebody could try to tell me all this stuff and actually get it all.
That's why I said, after you and I started talking about this a few days ago, I realized this was even bigger than I thought, and there's so many details, and for me, what I may be using the wrong verbiage, but so many parts of the mission. I said so many missions, but I guess there's one mission, but you have a lot of categories, a lot of parts, a lot more than just, you know, monthly income and a one-time $150,000 payment to each person. So that's why I said, man, let's go way back to the beginning. Like right here, we're in 1960 something right now with this document. And then let's go step by step through it and really explain to our audience in detail everything. And then we'll have to do maybe one or two more at least webinars that are an hour to an hour and a half long to really get through this. And we'll just keep going until we've got all the information out there. Because what I want to do is, you know, my brothers and sisters, those of you out there that your minds maybe aren't as open as others, I want you to stay here in this video, in this webinar, or if you're on YouTube right now, it's another day and you're watching the recorded video on YouTube. I want you to keep your mind very open to this, and just keep, you don't have to believe it or you don't have to do anything with it once you're done watching our video series on it, but keep an open mind on it, because I think you'll see that once that Jody and Susan and I share this information with you, I think the more you get the details, the more you're going to start to see and intuitively feel that this is real, that it's going to happen, and that it's coming from a very good intention and a very good place in the heart and soul of many, many people around the world. Jody and Susan are not the only people involved in this. There are people in, would you say, several countries, Jody? Almost every country, maybe?
Well, they're on all continents. We
Okay.
I have a map that I made a couple months ago. It really needs to be updated because there are new people joining all the time. But maybe I can screen share that map a little bit later, because it's kind of fun to see just how much activity there is. And in particular, because Indonesia is the origin or the start of this, we call Indonesia the lighthouse, as they're sort of the way shower for this. And Indonesia already has appointed officers for their 34 provinces, and they're just going gangbusters. Indonesia's way ahead of the rest of the other continents. So we're just trying to catch up. But
that brings up a good point. Could you explain, and then I'm going to let you move on back to this document and get back on point with the document. Explain really quick what Swissindo means, like you did to me the other day, so our attendees understand.
Right.
Where does it come from, the word?
Well, Swiss and Indo, I wish I had this written down because I could probably speak to it a little bit better, but the Swiss part is from Switzerland and Indo is from Indonesia. And there were assets that were brought together from Switzerland and Indonesia, because in Switzerland you have the Swiss Bank of Metals and Indonesia had gold. And when these assets were brought together to determine to move forward with these humanitarian projects, they united these two. So you have Swiss Indo. That's where that comes from. I'm not really doing justice to that, but that's the best I can get.
No, that's okay. We can get more detailed on that another time, and of course India and Susan probably have something to share on that later too. But what is the UN part? Where does that come from? I remember you telling me a little bit about that. Well, you don't have to go into too much detail, but the UN part.
It actually is a mission for the United Nations. The United Nations currently goes, if you're looking at the hierarchy of who is within the United Nations, the top level that you would find is a Secretary General. There is no president of the United Nations, but once you're in un-swissindo, you find out that the person heading Swissindo is now the president of the United Nations. Much of this, of course, is not. It's not that un-swissindo is trying to hide anything. In fact, we're making a lot of efforts to bring the information out, and that's why we're doing this webinar. But I would say media is not really helpful. So as we try to bring this information out, it kind of comes out in various different areas. And if you ask the right questions, certain information comes out one time, and other questions bring up other information. So there's so much to talk about that it's not like anybody's trying to keep anything quiet. But
okay, and then the obviously we all know here, or most of us, that the picture at the bottom left is JFK. The picture of the gentleman at the top right, who is that again?
That's Soekarno. This is right here, the first president of Indonesia. Okay.
And is he the one that actually started the UN, the United Nations?
I thought I heard Susan breathe, so I was wondering if she wanted to jump in on something.
Can you speak to that? Okay, good. So Jody, can you go ahead and tell us more about this document you're showing us, and what happened between him, Soekarno, and JFK, and then go ahead and move in, flow with it how you feel comfortable.
Well, actually, my intention for today was to give an overview of everything, and although there is a lot of information around the Green Hilton Agreement, that is actually history that's, that people are learning now. Since we're halfway into the webinar already, we still need to get to what Swissindo is offering. And so that was actually where I thought we would go next, was I can bring up the next page, which starts to itemize what Swissindo is offering as the gift of payments 1 to 11 to the world. So do you mind if we just go there?
No, yeah, we'll do that really quick though, to kind of make sense of why we started talking about this document, and then we can move away from it. Just explain, what did JFK and Soekarno, what did they do together really quick? And then I think it makes more sense for you to go into the next step.
Well, oops. Very generally, what's written here, this was Executive Order 11110, if you can see my cursor. The intention was to end the financial slavery system, eradicate poverty and the global financial crisis, and to bring heaven on earth. So
okay, and this is a document that these two signed together and sponsored?
Yes, there's one other signature on there. I actually don't know who that guy is, but this full document, there's a video that I'm expecting to share also that will highlight the person that's the head of Swissindo right now, and you'll see all the pages of the Green Hilton Agreement. They go by kind of quickly, but
okay. And one last thing I wanted to say about this. Go ahead, Karen, Susan. Okay, Swissindo.news. All right, and something that's really interesting, and we won't speculate too much, but after this document was signed, do you remember how much longer it was that JFK was assassinated? Was it within days or weeks? Just
Yeah,
curious.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure some. Yeah, it was within 2 weeks. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. Something that maybe we can, somebody can read into or figure out later. But Jody, let's go ahead and move into what you wanted to talk about next, and then maybe share your video. Go ahead.
Okay. And just to interject, our wonderful media person just told me it was 8 days. 8 days after they signed.
Okay.
JFK was killed.
And I'd never heard anything like that. Probably none of us heard anything about this on the news. So it's pretty interesting to me and shocking. But anyway, it leads me to be very, suspicious about that. But nothing we can do now. Let's just move on. But that goes to show you, I think, Jody, that goes to show you how right you were earlier when you said, back then the people on Earth weren't ready for the un-swissindo. And that's the kind of things, if you ask me, happens when people aren't ready, or the negative entities aren't ready, for when the majority of Earth isn't ready for things that are actually good and could really screw up the system of the matrix, if you will. Sometimes things like that happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like what happened to JFK. So, but anyway, I think we're in a good time on Earth, called the Golden Age, and 5D, and a lot of people are waking up, and they're not going to be able to get away with hiding this stuff any longer or assassinating people. There's too many good people out there from the heart and soul with good intentions we're going to change. We're all going to change this planet together. But we're going to bring positive change, and there's no stopping it now. So we will bring heaven on earth. Yes. I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Okay, Jody, what would you like to talk about next? Go ahead. I'll let you flow with it now a little bit.
Okay. Where I'd like to go now, is just here is payment order 1 to 11, which is the gift to humanity. This is what Swissindo is offering, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger.
Sure.
So people can see it.
That looks good.
Okay, good.
As long as people aren't on their cell phone, I realized people can view us and hear us on their cell phones, but some of this stuff might look a little small. So those of you that are on your cell phones, if you can, for the next webinars, or you can rewatch this video on Live the Enlightened Lifestyle on YouTube. And you can go on your laptop or computer whenever you get near it or get home or at work, and you can watch this replay. So for those of you that missed a part of this webinar, or you want to watch it again for whatever reason, you were on your phone and you want to see this stuff Jody's sharing in a bigger way, go home and get on your computer or laptop, or at work, wherever you've got a computer or laptop, and watch it on YouTube. Okay, go ahead, Jody.
Okay, you made a good point about people possibly being on their phone and not being able to read it. So I'm just going to read through these quickly so that people know the general points. So we have payment order 1 to 11. This is God's mission, known as a mandate to free and unite the 7.5 billion people through payment order 1 to 11. Payment order 1 to 11 to all 357 countries. It will support the governments of the world in the implementation of. This first item is the individual debt burden liberation. When Susan was mentioning the DBLC, this is what we're referencing, and we want to talk about the DBLC a little bit more. So I'm not going to stick on it at the moment, but that's what we've been talking about in terms of the individual debt burden. This applies to every single human on Earth. Well, those who are carrying debt, which would be adults. corporate debt burden liberation, up to the amount of $2 billion. I guess I missed it up here. The individual debt burden liberation, it's listed in Indonesian rupiah, which is 2 billion. If you do the exchange, this comes in very generally around $150,000. So then the corporate debt burden liberation, 2 billion US dollars, country quota, 138,990 billion. Bank quota, 138,990 Human obligation, this again applies to each person. This $6 million per person would be provided as a trust from 17 years of age and with a legal identity. And then the second part of the human obligation, this kind of comes under some different names. People may be familiar with the terms basic income, universal income, or unconditional basic income. And that's what this is. This is like a monthly basic income. The amount for students, let's see, is $600 from the first year of primary school. And then adults would receive $1,200 for the rest of their lives. And this doesn't require that anybody do work to receive this money. It's unconditional. It's given to everybody regardless of whatever else they're doing. It's simply to provide more abundance to each human so that they can feel freed up to pursue their own interests and to feel more comfortable in their lives. And finally, we go to the Venus Project. For people who aren't familiar with the Venus Project, this is online, so you can look it up. It's fascinating. Again, tons more information if you're interested in the concept of creating sustainable cities, new energy. It's endless. I have just, if I can just speak to it a little bit, it's built around a resource-based economy. All socioeconomic systems depend upon natural resources, such as clean air and water, land, the necessary technology and personnel to maintain a high standard of living. So the extra piece that un-swissindo brings to this, besides the fact that they are funding the Venus Project, is to pave the way for free energy and already existing technologies that have been blocked. Those of us who have been following the free energy or alternative energy, or even alternative healing information, we're super excited that Swissindo is helping to facilitate all of this to come forward. So if you look at the Venus Project and you only think of it from within the framework of what we see on Earth today, you actually won't get the full scope of what's possible, because there will be new technologies released going forward. We can't even imagine where this is going to go. It's just incredible. So you can look that up online under the Venus Project. Susan,
okay.
do you want to jump in at all?
So, Susan, maybe we better. Oh, I see. You just took your screen share off.
Oh, did you want to speak to it? I'm going to.
Well, I just think with what Susan said, maybe Susan, you can explain to them a little bit more about what you mean when you say that. Like right now, we're still having to, and the un-swissindo and us folks, especially in the U.S. and other countries besides Indonesia, this is really started in Indonesia, where Indonesian banks have all started accepting this document, right? But in the USA, the way I understand it, we, the people, still have to pressure them to jump on the bandwagon with this document, that the banks are still afraid of it here in the US. The banks are, not sure if it's real. The banks are still somewhat run by the negative entities who have enslaved us. So can you speak a little? I think you know where I'm going. Can you speak a little bit about that so people really understand that they're not really going to get right now? They could, but they're not yet going to get their credit for they're not going to get their credit dissolved for their house or their car.
Ron,
Yeah, but us going out and
okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Ahead.
Some people are saying they're not hearing Susan. Some people are saying they're not hearing you. I just wanted to establish that people are hearing you first.
Hearing Susan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to tell you, Susan, you have an awesome voice for radio, by the way. We just got to get you a new microphone. Well, your video is not moving too good. So your microphone's much better, but you do have a delay. I think your Susan's internet is a little bit slow today. Maybe it's that or your computer. But anyway, if we get you a new mic, I think we'll be good. Yeah, go ahead. I can hear you pretty good. I think what they're talking about is they just want us to know that you're kind of, you sound just not really clear sometimes, but I can understand you. So I hope they can.
Is there a setting for you, Ron, where you can make your mic public or something? Or it should just be working?
No, it's on her. It's all on her side. I can't do anything. It's
people are saying no audio.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Susan.
Susan? I have to interrupt because everybody in the chat is saying they can't hear you.
I really don't understand why that is. Guys, if I can hear her that good, and Susan, it was better when you turn your video off. So your sound actually is much clearer. So it's probably your internet fighting between video and audio. So yeah, when you turn your just your audio on, you do sound much clearer. You guys, I don't know if maybe your volume is turned down, but if I can hear her, you should be able to hear her. I've got my volume turned up, so maybe if you simply turn your volume up more, I hope that works. Well, no, we've got quite a few people.
Yeah, nobody seems to be hearing her. So the suggestion was that she could type it in the chat, but I think that would probably be a lot of typing.
No, oh, well, that's not good. Jody, you're going to have to take over from here, okay? Because everybody says they can hear you. Not really sure what's going on with Susan's, why we can hear her. You can hear Susan, right?
I hear her, yes. So it seems
Okay.
within our sphere, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know if is there anything in
No, it's Susan, would you do me a favor and just leave and come back and see if that helps? And Jody, go ahead and take over and let's let Susan give it a try again, okay? I'm sorry, you guys. Sometimes this happens, you know, with older computers or slow internets, and there's just nothing we can do about it. But go ahead, Jody. At least I got you. With
actually,
good.
now might be a really good time. One of the things I wanted to do was introduce the audience to M1. And so we have a video called The Heart of M1, which I think is a good way to start. And so maybe I could do the screen share with the video while Susan's trying to come back.
Yes, the only thing I wanted to tell you this earlier, we didn't have enough time though when we were in here testing. When you do video, you've got to make sure everybody can hear your sound. So think about it this way. Where is your microphone compared to your speakers? So is your microphone built in, or do you have a separate microphone you could put next to a speaker?
Oh, mine's just built in to my laptop.
Okay, well, you'll have to make sure your mic's not mute, and you'll have to turn your volume up fairly loud for us to be able to hear the video. Because I did that before also, and I'm on a laptop, and my microphone's built in, and my microphone's up here, my speakers are down here. So I had to turn my volume up pretty loud, and it's still not really clear. So next time we do this, we just need to remember to get an external microphone.
Okay.
Okay, but go ahead, share the video, and I'll let you know.
Susan's back now. Can we hear her?
Hi, can you hear me?
I hear you. Audience?
No, still on.
Oh, Sylvie hears you.
Sylvie says it's perfect.
Well, she says her sound.
Yay! Thank
Sylvie,
you.
is that Susan's sound you're talking about? Go ahead, Jody, with the video, and let's see if we can hear it okay.
Okay. So, oops. So we're going to watch a video now introducing you to M1, who is the head of un-swissindo.
Okay, yes, they said they can hear Susan now. That's really strange. That's a new one for me. I haven't had the guest not hear them, but I hear them. I mean
how do I do this?
The webinar attendees not hear my guests, but I heard my guests. I have to figure that one out later. Sorry, guys.
Oh, I see. I've got more pages to. Let's see. I think I have to. I hadn't tried sharing a video before. I maybe have to make it a separate window. Maybe that makes a difference.
Well, you can, but it's just like when you hit the screen share and it asks you which window would you like to share. Just make sure that that window you want to share has the video in it. There you go.
That window has you in it.
Now, I think what you could do is you could go ahead and hit the bottom right button on the video. See to the right there, Jody, where it'll maximize it. There you go.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Everyone. I guess I can't hear anyone, but okay. And I'll turn up my volume.
Okay.
It starts quietly, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't hear anything. Uh-oh.
Yeah, actually,
I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business.
Sorry.
Jumping on the bed. We have a saying within some of the meetings and stuff. When we get excited, we start talking about jumping on the bed, excited. With the emoticons, and that's actually a really funny. It would be an inside joke, except it's a public document. It's out there. We can all jump on the bed now, and we can all get excited because this is real and it is really happening. We didn't do any media before they had these ceremonies, and now we're doing the media because we can. It's time. Are y'all ready?
I know I am.
Let's do it. Let's print out those DBLCs and get them submitted. And tell a friend. We've got on our website, we have posters, we have flyers that you can put up with tear tabs that lead people to the website. And this beautiful DBLC at a glance document that Jody made. It's amazing, and it makes the whole thing so simplified and so easy to explain.
Don't close that video, Jody, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Wait, not for them. I want you to do something. I'm sorry I interrupted, Susan.
That's okay.
Will you please share the link to that video, because people unfortunately here, they can't get the whole proper vibration of that video unless they see it live on their own computer. So could you share the link here, and please send me that link on my on the messenger for our Facebook that we've been using, because I want to see that video and save it to my YouTube channel also.
Yes. Okay. I put it up there twice.
Yeah, and just send it to my Facebook Messenger really quick, and then you can close out. I just wanted to get that in there.
Okay.
I want to say something too. Because I didn't want to confuse things for people. You guys, I share a link here from time to time, and you might see it up in the chat right now, which you can minimize it anytime. If you guys didn't know that, there's a minimize button. It's a donation link. Some of my friends and brothers and sisters talked me into, getting a PayPal link to be able to donate to me, which I really appreciate. They actually paid for this webinar jam software, which was $500.
Wow.
I paid very little. Most of my brothers and sisters who love what I do, they gave me the money for this through donations. So so now I take that link from time to time in my webinars and put it up. The reason why I put a donation link up there for myself and Live the Enlightened Lifestyle is to keep our webinars free. I really don't want to charge for the webinars, but I do a lot of work, and sometimes I'll be spending money on advertising, through Facebook and social media to get the word out, because to do what I do and just reach a few people, that's not my mission. My mission is to reach thousands and then millions. So I have to do more. And I appreciate, if anybody feels like donating to my light work, that's fine. And it keeps my webinars free, and I can bring people to you like I'm doing today. And I do a lot of my own YouTube videos and my own webinars by myself on my own to just bring the information out there that gets intuitively sent to me. That said, and try to jump in here with me, Jody, when I'm done to make sure I'm saying it right. But I don't think the un-swissindo accepts donations or has anything to do with donations. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. No, there's no need to try to offer donations, anything to do with Swissindo. Swissindo is completely free.
So can we clarify then? There's a donation link for the webinar, and those donations are for Ron Steele and for Live the Enlightened Lifestyle. Swissindo does not accept donations. If someone asks you for money, please let us know they're doing something incorrect, and that's in regards to Swissindo. However, Ron Steele and Live the Enlightened Lifestyle does accept donations, and I'll be donating as well.
Awesome.
Well, I appreciate that. And you guys, I don't require donations. I'm not someone that's about money. And I was talked into starting that link.
I don't think any of us are, but we're still in a system that requires money, and we want to get this word out. We want to help you get this word out. So I'm all about that. And you're helping us, so we want to help you help us. And thank you so much, Ron, for doing this and for allowing us to be here.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And just for the folks that are rewatching this video, you can't see the chat box. So the PayPal link is paypal.me. That's me /Ron Steele. So paypal.me /Ron Steele. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. What do you guys want to do next?
Well, I was thinking before we watched The Heart of M1, we were having Susan talk, but then we had to go through that whole, she had to re-enter the room and thing. I don't know if we can we recapture that? Because I thought we haven't, we're a full hour in now, and we haven't addressed the DBLC kind of in the way that I thought we would. We haven't really shown any pictures of it or anything. So I thought I could screen share what the DBLC
Let's do it.
like. And then maybe, Susan, if you're still there,
I'm still here.
Remember what you were saying about that?
Well, we have, if you'll go ahead and screen share, I'll just talk while you do that. The DBLC is available at the website. It's Swissindo.news. And Swissindo is one word. SWISSINDO.news. There's a downloads tab. And under the downloads tab, you can see where you can have the DBLC printed in English or any other language. Just about, I believe we have it translated into almost all the languages. There may be a few missing. Thank you, India. She just put the link in the chat. So you can click that and go to Swissindo.news and download the DBLC. And what we're doing is a lot of people are fashioning a cover letter with a brief explanation of what the DBLC is and what it's for, because it'll be addressed to the president or the CFO, the chief financial officer of the organization that you're sending your payment to. And so there, a brief cover letter. We don't currently have an official cover letter, so do what makes sense for you, and just explain to them that we are aware of Swissindo and the mission, and that we're making them aware that we're aware. And in most cases, they have had some exposure to the DBLC and have just denied it. They need to see that we, the people, are aware of the DBLC and the process and what it entails and what it's for. They need to see that we understand it, and we are demanding payment, but we're not going in there with our fists clenched. And yes, Kathy, you do need to print it off and send it with your payment. If you pay electronically, you'll have to make other arrangements, but I don't know how to make those arrangements for you. That would be something you would work out with your financial institution. But we want to explain to the banks and the financial institutions that we understand that this is in force, and that it is legal. It has been written into law, and then give them the option to come around without violence, without yes. And like India said, you may also email this kit, and I'm hoping she'll put a link to the kit in the chat room. It's a kit with there you go. Public information disclosure and people power. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Kim Marie. I see you. We have a lot of information and as much help as you want. We've got help. So thank you so much. And if you will, just send in your DBLC and let the banks know, and tell a friend, and help us get the word out, because we're almost there. You guys, we are literally, the checks have been written. We're just waiting for somebody to that's probably not the right phrase to use. The let's say the I don't know how to phrase what I'm trying to say. We're right on the verge of breaking through and actually seeing this come to fruition and happen. And I'm excited because there's in addition to everything that's going to happen on a personal level for individuals and their families, with the mom getting to stay home, the parents not fighting over money all the time, kids having shoes and a place to sleep and food, and having what they need. Swissindo has an entire organization full of people with humanitarian projects in their pocket just waiting for funding. And some of those humanitarian projects are things like free energy devices that will power our homes, health health technology and biomeds that can change the way we heal and change the way we do medicine. We've got just all kind of technology that's just waiting to have a little funding and be brought to the people. And it starts right here with this document that's on your screen. This is a DBLC, the Debt Burden Liberation Certificate, and it entitles you, the bearer, to $150,000 US, around that amount, in bank. And yes, tell your banks we want them to contact Swissindo to be a participating bank in the rollout, which means they will be a service center or a servicing what does Don call it? He calls it a resource center. A resource center. The banks will still be there. They'll still, and the banks, that bank quota, each bank gets that quota, 138 trillion some odd. Oh my God, huge long number with a lot of zeros. You know, I could buy shoes forever with that amount of money. I don't know what banks do with all that money, but that's a lot of shoes, y'all. And the banks get that money. So, and plus, for managing the accounts, the banks also get a 1.5% commission, I believe, on each account because they're managing the trust for us. So the banks are coming out way, way ahead. We just need to get them on board. All they have to do is say, like Kim Marie, just say yes. When they say yes, everything changes. And a distribution hub, that's a wonderful word. Thank you, Colleen. That's beautiful. So yes, thank you.
I'm gonna say a couple things, Susan, to maybe make things more clear to our attendees.
Okay.
First, though, Jody, can you maximize this document a little bit more? I think over in the top right of the screen, is that a maximize button? Will it? Well, no.
I can enlarge it so people can see more like that.
Yeah, let's enlarge it. Maybe you can show the top half for a little while, and then in 5 minutes or less, you can show the bottom half. For those folks that are on smaller computer screens and for sure cell phones, it'll be hard to see. Okay, the other thing I wanted to say to what you were saying, Susan, that I think people should understand, because here's the first thing I think it's going to come to an average person's mind, is they're going to say, well, why can't you just send me a $150,000 check? Can you guys, one of you, maybe Susan, can you talk about that a little bit, and why? Part two is why do we have to help pressure, the banks, show them that, and then part three is explain that this money is actually available already. We just have to get the banks to go get the money.
All right.
Go ahead.
Well, okay. Part one was why. What was part one?
Sorry, I should have done 3 parts so quickly. Basically, it is.
Why do you have to submit this? Why in this order?
Yeah, why not just give the people a $150,000 check directly?
Because the first thing you're going to do, if I send you a check for $150,000, payment number 2 is $1,200 per month, basic income for every single adult with valid ID. But we can't get that. You know why? Because the first thing, if I give you a check for $150,000, what's the first thing you're going to do with it? And no, don't say buy shoes. That's what I would do.
Vegas or something.
Now, the first thing people are going to do is they're going to go pay off debt. So the first step is debt burden liberation, because we need to eliminate those debts to have the abundance. The abundance that we're entitled to includes freedom from debt. So we have to eliminate the debts, because otherwise, when people get their $1,200 a month, they'll go and pay their debts. They'll pay their bills, but their bills are paid. The debt is gone, and which is the whole purpose of this, right? Exactly. So that's why M1 isn't going out just cutting a bunch of checks and giving people $150,000. He wants to see them go to their creditor, give them this document, and have only their debt paid off, not a trip to Vegas or something that's not really going to get everybody. The whole purpose of this is to move everybody closer and closer off of the need for money. Right. And if you're looking, if you can see the chat, Honorable India posted some links. One is the Infinite Accounts Audit, and that is a, if it's the one that I think it is, I'm not going to click the link because I've got this sketchy internet connection, but it is, it's a validation that they have audited one of the accounts and validated that that account exists and that the funds or the assets are there. And if that one account is validated and the assets do exist, then so do the other 884 infinite balance accounts. All exist. The assets are there. They can be used, and they belong to the M1, who is Mr. Sino, the President of the United Nations and the founder of the un-swissindo. The 12 Portals document is the document that gives Mr. Sino the authority to print, to use the U.S. Treasury to. I didn't mean to click it. The authority to print currency. The Grand Acclamation was the announcement of the Mahkamah Agung, which is Indonesian for a Supreme Court ruling. That signs this into law, and the legitimacy and standing. I'm not going to click that link. That tells you more about how it is valid. It is real. It does exist. The funds are there. We've got all the documentation and all the forensic proof that could be needed to show the bankers, the presidents that the documents are there. Now there's what's called black screen accounts or off ledger accounts, and that's how these accounts are being seen when the CFO logs into to find the accounts. He's looking at a black screen account. So a teller at the front desk may not be able to see the accounts, but they are there. And anyone who's been in banking for a while has probably heard of the white spiritual wonder boy, or the there's a whole bunch of names that there's 884 accounts, but they all fall under the umbrella of white spiritual wonder boy, and those holdings, the holdings that belong to that entity, and they're all connected. 884 of those accounts with an infinite balance. So infinite shoes, y'all. Let's go shopping.
Pay off your debt first.
Yes, I'm indebted to shoes.
By the way, have you guys seen any organizations or people out there that are trying to copy this and use it in, a negative way, that some of our audience, our attendees, our brothers and sisters could go out there and actually go to the wrong website, or they're misrepresenting you? And how can they tell? If the answer is yes, how can they tell that which one is the real un-swissindo?
Well, misrepresenting, anytime money's involved, there may be somebody misrepresenting and trying to say that they are something, but when they're not actually. Official un-swissindo affiliates will have, they won't ask for any money. They will have, if you go to swissindo.news, you'll see a listing of who our partners are, and that will help. Jody, do you know how to verify that someone is an official Swissindo partner? We have guidelines for partnering with Swissindo. We only have certain documents that we allow people to use. This DBLC needs to be exactly like it is. A copy is as good as the original, but it needs to be an exact copy. It doesn't have to be full color, but it needs to be an exact copy with every word the same, nothing changed. All the seals have to be there, and there's some security features built in so that even copies are authentic. But thank you, India, for putting that link in the chat. The official guidelines for partnering with us, right there under India Murkerson. That's how to partner with un-swissindo. If your organization wants to help spread the word and wants to partner with us and become an official partner, or resource hub for Swissindo, for the documents, for helping people to walk people through submitting their DBLCs and obtaining their their gift. We also have we hadn't discussed mentioning this, but the active military and police officers have a gift available to them as well. And that's listed on the DBLC at a glance document. It's quite large and it's unbelievable. So I'm not even going to state what it is, but it's amazing and it's motivating. So, and this is God's mandate to free the world from oppression. Thank you, Tracy.
Okay, Jody, I think we can go back to your video.
Okay.
And everybody misses your face.
Yeah, where your face is at.
So anyway, I think the main two things is they can go back, they can go to your website, Swissindo.news, and feel safe on that website and maybe stay away from the others just in case. If you're not sure, you know, who you're talking to or what you're looking at is real, just go to Swissindo.news and then look for that document on that website, and that's where you can print it off and know you've got the real one, and that's where you can also compare it to others you might be seeing out there, just in case somebody is, you know, unfortunately there's still negative people in the world that are not doing things with good intentions. So let's be careful and make sure we know, you know, what's what.
Well, even some there may even be people who have good intentions, but their agenda is not one that Swissindo can align with, because we have our own political. We've got our mission, and we need to stay on point with our mission.
Yeah.
So, you know, we may not be able to align with them, but we certainly don't want to discourage anyone from doing anything of the light. So, but
well,
sorry, go ahead, Jody.
I agree. Yeah. Jody, do you want to say something to maybe wrap it up today? We've gone an hour and 22 minutes, and I think if you guys, you ladies, you three ladies, because India Merkerson's here too, you just can't see her video, and she can't get her sound working. So we're going to try to get India with us, and we'll have 3 guests next in 2 weeks. Would you guys like to come back in 2 weeks and move on? It seems like we're going to have to do a 3 or 4-part video series about the Swissindo, because I can tell an hour and 22 minutes has gone by, and we haven't even begun to. We just spread the basics today, but we got to get a lot more information out there.
Yeah, I did have some other things in my
notes.
This
is exciting.
Susan did a great job of hitting on some of the points, because as she was saying them, I'm like, yep, we had that, but you never know how the conversation's going to go. So in terms of a wrap up, one thing I wanted to mention, we keep talking about the website, but when they put the website together, they did a really great job of making tabs at the top that really do help guide you to find all the various different things. So for example, if somebody wanted to just keep up with you on Swissindo, there's a Swissindo in the news tab. And if, and related to the DBLC, I'm probably just going to throw out random little pieces now. There is a lawyer that if people have questions about the DBLC, we do have a lawyer that people can write to. And I'm going to put that in the chat.
Okay, so, is that a link to,
it's
to
actually
the lawyer's website, or?
It's an email address. We actually have somebody you can contact in relation if you have questions about the DBLC. I'm jiggling my computer. So unless somebody else can throw that in the chat. I have it handy right here, so I'm just going to hopefully I'll type it correctly. Sure.
So while you're doing that, would you ladies like to go ahead and come back in 2 weeks? My next webinar date that is in my series of webinars till 2018 is actually May 13th. That's 2 Saturdays from today. Would you ladies like to do that?
Sure. And I actually...
That's a yes from me.
What I was thinking is there are quite a few people in UN Swissindo that have kind of niche, I don't want to say interests, they're specialties. Some people know a whole lot about the United Nations and government, or about the Venus Project, or, you know, and I don't know who is interested in coming on, but if you wanted to focus on certain particular areas, I mean, we have a wealth of information from a variety of different people. So
yeah, and we'll get into that. That's something else I wanted to get into. That's what I meant by your different pieces of it, because you talked about you guys will be supporting things like the Venus Project. monetarily backing that. So
Yes.
There's so much to talk about. I mean, Jody, you and I were on the phone the other day, a few days ago for, I don't know, was it 3 hours, I think?
Just 2.5, yeah.
It was a while.
Wow.
The phone and Skype. So I'm learning a lot about it myself, and I said, for sure, this is something I have to share with my followers and and be a part of. So
And we really appreciate it, Ron. Thank you.
Yeah, we're incredibly grateful because
The timing was impeccable.
Yeah. I didn't mention this too, but I have, all of us have been approaching different people about un-swissindo, talking about the DBLC, asking people, if they can share the DBLC. And I've sent information to several people, store owners, banks, missions, and it's not very often that people contact me. So to have gotten an answer back was really exciting, and that you actually want to do a webinar, I'm thrilled. So thank you.
Go ahead, Susan.
One thing that people can keep in mind, if someone feels alone because you want to believe in the mission, and this is where I was at, you want to believe in the mission, you want to believe that it's true, and you want to see it come to fruition, and in your heart of hearts, you know that it's real. But if you go and tell your friends, oh my gosh, this Indonesia guy is going to give me $150,000 and pay off all of my bills and pay me monthly just to be me, and I'm so fabulous, and they're going to look at you, and they may. There's no telling what they're liable to say. If you feel alone in this, like you can't share it, just know that you are not alone. There are thousands. I mean, we show pictures all the time because there are thousands of people doing socializations. They're getting together in groups of 30, 50. There were 3,000 people at the event this week at the Gebyar Akbar event. And we've got some pictures of just this huge gathering of people supporting, not just supporting, but participating in this mission in Indonesia. And Indonesia is just the start of it, honey. You better tell your neighbors and get them ready and tell them to order your patches. Look like Jody's got on her shirt. I've got mine here, and I didn't want to be able to fix them. Look at that. Yeah. Because it's happening, and it's real, and it's coming to your neighborhood, and we're coming to your neighborhood. We're allowed to have a fish fry in your backyard and tell all of your neighbors. This is real, and it's happening. So, and we have support for it. There's a lot of people.
Right. And you know what I want to say to those folks out there that might be watching this who aren't fully enlightened yet, and maybe they're not believers? I want to say this. If you really listen to this and you have some depth to you, you can tell that this is coming from a good place, a heart and soul place, a higher authority. It's with good intentions. So how the heck could you think negatively or talk negatively or ignore something like this? There's no reason. There's nothing negative about it at all. Nobody's asking you for money. They're trying to give you debt relief. So I ask you to use your brain there. Think deeply. This is something with good intention. Nobody's trying to get anything from you. They're trying to give you something, for goodness sake. So, and there's something much bigger about it. It's really not about money. It is so much bigger than that. And you'll figure that out as we go through our series with un-swissindo.
Right.
Go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much, Ron. It is such an honor. Go ahead.
I just wanted to screen share really quickly that map that I said I put together. This would give people some idea of the volunteers that are all over the world participating. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, and we'll show that really quick, and then we'll end it with that. So you guys do agree, and India, you're in agreement, India, that we'll go ahead and do this again in 2 weeks. We'll go to our video series part 2 for un-swissindo. Will that work, ladies?
Sure. Okay,
then I'll see you guys on May 13th. And this map again shows us where there are people and organizations involved with un-swissindo.
Yes, all of these pins on the map would represent volunteers currently with un-swissindo, and many. Oh, you can't? I shared it.
Yeah, it's there. I see it.
Yeah, it looks like it's there. It's not up for you, Susan? All of the pins represent un-swissindo volunteers.
It's
And
there. India sees it too.
And actually, there are multiples at each pin, because as we talk to other people in our area, you know, you could have quite a few people representing just by one pin. And
Okay, so I see you guys. We need some volunteers. It looks like in Brazil and Russia and Ukraine. Maybe my friends in Romania. I've got a lot of friends in Romania and Bulgaria.
we
And
do have a lot of people join in Africa, and there's a real role happening in South America right now too. I haven't updated this map in a little while, so it would be interesting to see what that is now. But you're right about that whole Russian area. Anybody out there that wants to, you know, join Swissindo or participate or volunteer, all the same thing. If you're in any of those countries, you are welcome.
All right. Okay. Well, that's good. Let's go back to your video and wrap this up, Jody and Susan. I want to thank all of you guys for coming today. All of my brothers and sisters here for the webinar. We're going to be back. Actually, we're going to be back with Jody and Susan, and we're going to fix Susan's microphone. I hope. Maybe I'll get some. Maybe I'll get a few donations today, and if you need, I'll send you the money for a new mic or something. But we'll also try to get India back. India's having problems with her video. She's got a picture stuck to it, so if she turns it on, it's a picture that none of us know where it came from. And then her sound won't work. So India, let's try to get your sound and video working. Let's have all three of you back here and have an even better webinar in 2 weeks. Yeah, so so you guys, we will be back on May 13th. That's a Saturday in 2 weeks, not next Saturday, but the next, May 13th. And it is at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's the normal time I do these webinars every 2 weeks on a Saturday, unless for some reason I have to cancel, you know, I have to work or something like that comes up. I still have to pay the bills. So sometimes work could interfere with my Saturdays, but I usually do my best. Like today, I got 4 hours of sleep last night because my plane was delayed in Vegas for a business trip, and I still came here. I don't want to let you guys down, so I know I'm scaring you because I look bad right now with my raccoon eyes, but I just didn't get any sleep last night. Anyway, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you guys so much. I've received some donations already, and you know, I kind of feel bad for that, but thank you so much for those that care and support me and love me so much. And also, that's just me. I don't know. I'll get over it someday. But well, money. You know, money shouldn't exist, and it stinks that we all need money so much to survive. And a lot of us, that's another thing, is if we didn't need money to survive, we wouldn't do some of the things we're doing for it. A lot of us are working at jobs that we don't really care about that much, that we don't really want to do because we were desperate for money. So if we didn't have a need for money, we would be out there doing what we love, and the world would be a better place because of that, because everybody at their job, almost everybody at their job, would be there for the right reason from their heart and soul. So that's another thing to think about. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah. Yes, you can vibrate on a higher vibration. Um, Anyway, that's something you can watch in one of my videos. By the way, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and I've got a link here. Webinar Jam allows me to send you, it's going to open a new tab. I'm going to push it right now, and it's going to open a new tab in your browser that's going to show you my YouTube channel. And you can see this video. One of the reasons I'm doing that is because I want to give you a chance to see more about Ron Steele and Live the Enlightened Lifestyle and the Swissindo. On my YouTube channel, you're going to be able to see this video. You're going to be able to watch it again, because I know some of you came in. I saw a few of you come in 30 minutes late. So you're going to be able to watch this video replay again in approximately an hour to 2 hours. As soon as I try not to edit any of my videos that I do, or these videos with my guests. So you'll usually see an unedited video, except in the beginning on Webinar Jam. I don't know why. I got to talk to them. But in the beginning, there's a 60-second delay. So we have to just sit there, and you might hear us talking or not talking for 60 seconds. And then you guys come in the room, and I see people typing. Then I know I can actually start the webinar. So I go back and I cut that part out to put it on YouTube, so it looks a little more, professional and less silly, because we're just sitting there talking like, is anybody in here yet? So anyway. That's my YouTube channel I sent you guys to. Thanks again. I received donations already again, and I love you guys for that. And just remember, love, light, unity. We really are all one. I know a lot of us are still trying to figure out what that means and how to deal with that in our head. But that's enlightenment for you. It takes years to figure out and to shed the layers of that onion off of us, the old, and bring in the new. So I'm here for you guys. I hope you're here for me too, and we can all help each other through this. And Jody, thank you very much for being here today. India, even though we can't see or hear you, I see your typing. Thank you for being here. Thank you guys for letting me be a part of the Swissindo. And Susan, thank you very much too.
We really appreciate this, Ron. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate what you guys are doing, and M1 and the other folks before them that started this. So
Right.
So everybody, we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Don't forget, come back here if you registered.
People that are out there, I know you're out there.
Yeah, hello, all you Swissindo people. I know some of you are watching today, and some of you, a lot of you, probably thousands, will be watching this video eventually. So please, you guys, by the way, share the video. You can actually share this live video. It shows you down there, Twitter and Facebook, little links. But when you go back to YouTube and you watch the video again, or even if you don't want to, at least go to YouTube and share this video. Let's get this information out to the masses. Let's get it out to millions of people, not 50. Yeah. But, enlightenment and all the things we're trying to do for it really works best when you have the majority of people involved and that can see this video. It could be something like this video today that actually snaps somebody's, it wakes them up, as we say, an enlightenment. Like I did, I realized in 2015, late 2015 is when I really woke up, and then I realized, man, I've been enlightening a little bit at a time my whole life, and I didn't realize it, how much I was connected to my creator. And then everything made sense to me. Finally, everything made sense to me in late 2015. And now I see, the enslavement that we've been in, that it's like legal enslavement. So anyway, I can talk about this for hours. I'm going to let you guys go. Jody, Susan, India, thank you guys. I love you guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And you guys.
We'll look forward to 2 weeks.
We will all four be back for you guys. With clear sound, audio, and video on May 13th, 10 a.m. Pacific. Please look up your time zone. If you can't make it, then look for the video on YouTube and Facebook, my Facebook event, my Facebook page, my Facebook group. I share it all over just to try to get it out there for you guys. And I'm not selling anything except love and unity. and some enlightenment, and hopefully I help you guys out, bringing information to the masses that's needed.
Thank you.
So yeah. How can you not want to be a part of something so positive with good intentions? And that's what enlightenment is about. So you guys, we will see you in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks from today, on Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And don't forget to please go to my YouTube channel. Go on YouTube, sign into your account or make an account, and go to search Live the Enlightened Lifestyle, and you'll be able to see this video there. When you see this video there, or any of my videos, please share it on all your social media. Again, I'm not selling anything. I'm trying to get information out there, so it's with good intentions. So again, brothers and sisters, love, light, and unity. Do everything in your life from love and with good intentions. And that's the only two things you really need to focus on, and everything will start to improve in your life. So namaste, everybody. I'll see you soon.
Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.